Chief Anozie stood up frowning and said he is sorry, but he cannot settle Nonso because he doesn't feel he has learnt enough. All the villagers were shocked because this has never happened before. Nonso stood up, his heart pounding. I know exactly what is happening, he said. Chief Anozie was shocked. The villagers listened with rapt attention. Chief Anozie has been biding our fortunes to his own, Nonso declared, his voice steady. He has used dark rituals to ensure we fail, so he remains the only successful businessman. Chief Anozie's face contorted with rage and fear as Nonso confronted him. This is nonsense, he roared. These are lies. Nonso continued. He does not want to settle me because he couldn't get my boxers. Reverend Father Nebu stood and shouted at him, enough with these lies. How can you say that to a man who is committed to God's work and even comes to the parish to pray for all his apprentices? Your claims are outrageous. The villagers did not know what to believe. Chief Anozie said, it was obvious you were sent to bring me down after all I have done for you, he told Nonso. One of the elders stood, looked at Nonso and said, these allegations are huge. Do you have a proof to back it up? Nonso replied, yes, I do. I can lead everyone to the exact room to see for themselves. The elder continued, okay, that is nice, but just before we follow you, lying about a man of Chief Anozie's caliber comes with its consequences. Nonso was sure of what he knew, and he said he was ready. From the crowd, Amaka looked at him with pity. Nonso replied, I know what I am saying, and I will take you all there. The elders of the village took in a deep breath and replied, let's go. Nonso led the villagers, including Chief Anozie and Father Nebu, towards the secluded apartment where he had witnessed the sinister ritual. His heart pounded in his chest and beads of sweat formed on his forehead. He felt the weight of the villagers' expectations and the heavy burden of his accusation. As they approached the compound, Nonso's confidence started shaking. The familiar path seemed strange and disorienting. He struggled to remember the exact route to the room where he had seen the apparitions. The more he tried to focus, the more the surroundings seemed to shift and blur, as if some unforeseen forces was playing tricks on his mind. Nonso, where are you leading us? An elder asked impatiently. We have been walking in circles. I'm sure it's here, Nonso stammered. His voice tingled with panic. He pointed to a seemingly ordinary part of the compound, but when they entered, it was just an empty storeroom. No, this isn't right, he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. Chief Anozie stood back, a satisfied smirk playing on his lips. Enough of this nonsense, Nonso, he said, his voice dripping with feigned patience. You've wasted everyone's time. Where is the so-called evidence? Nonso's mind raced. He knew what he had seen, but now it felt like a distant, fading memory. It's gone, he whispered, his shoulders sagging in defeat. I can't find it. The villagers' expressions shifted from curiosity to anger and disappointment. You have brought shame upon yourself and the community, an elder declared. For accusing Chief Anozie of such vile acts without proofs, you must face the consequences. Nonso was dragged back to the village square, where a makeshift tribunal was quickly convened. Nonso, the head elder, intoned, for your baseless accusations against a respected member of our community and for causing such turmoil, you are hereby banished from Akimu. You are not to return under any circumstance. Tears gathered up in the eyes of Nonso as the weight of the judgment crushed his spirit. He looked around, hoping for a sympathetic face, but saw only averted gazes. Even Amaka, who had believed in him, stood silently, her face a mask of sorrow. Nonso packed his few belongings and left Akimo, the village he had known all his life, feeling a profound sense of loss and betrayal. As he walked away, he vowed to one day prove Chief Anozie's guilt, even if it will take a lifetime. That night, Chief Anozie attended his occultic meeting. The leader of the group told him he was very lucky he came to his rescue, and that his carelessness could have cost him so much. The leader of the occultic group explained that he was the one who cast a spell on Nonso, making him lose his memory, and that Chief Anozie's saving grace was his attendance at that event. Chief Anozie couldn't thank him enough, admitting that he was almost having a heart attack when Nonso accused him. Years passed and Akimo flourished under Chief Anozie's influence. His business continued to thrive, and his contributions to the church and the community only increased his standing. However, strange incidents began to occur, small at first but growing in intensity. Unexplainable accidents, failed harvests, mysterious illness plagued the village. Whispers began to circulate once more. The villagers started to question if there was a dark force at play. Chief Anozie's former apprentices also shared their stories of misfortune, adding fuel to the rumors. Amaka, still working in the village, couldn't shake the feelings that Nonso had been right. She quickly began her own investigations, gathering pieces of information and connecting the dots. She discovered that the incidents often coincided with Chief Anozie's seemingly benevolent acts. She noticed that whenever Chief Anozie did any donation or generous act, a misfortune would happen the next week. One evening, Amaka gathered a few trusted villagers and shared her findings. "We need to re-examine Nonso's claim," she urged. "I believe he was telling the truth." The group decided to keep their plans secret and arranged a covert meeting with some of the elders who were starting to doubt Chief Anozie's integrity. They agreed to investigate quietly without raising suspicion. Late one night, Amaka and the group sneaked into Chief Anozie's compound. This time, they were prepared with protective charms they got from a very strong native doctor who had seen through Chief Anozie's illusions. They found the hidden room Nonso had described, and inside the shocking truth was revealed. Bound spirits of apprentices, along with various occultic materials and paraphernalia, were discovered. The elders were shocked and horrified. Chief Anozie, sensing the imminent threat, escaped through his back door to meet the head of his occultic group. In a hidden groove, he frantically explained his predicament. The leader shook his head solemnly. "There's nothing I can do this time to save you," he said. "Your altar has been desecrated. Your powers are broken." Chief Anozie's face twisted with despair as he realized his doom. With no other choice, he tried to flee further, but the villagers, now aware of his escape, apprehended him. As he was dragged back to face his judgment, he desperately attempted to expose other members of the occultic group, hoping to save himself. However, the head of the occultic group, observing from the shadows, cast a final spell on Chief Anozie, causing him to lose his memory completely. He stood before the tribunal, a broken man, unable to recall even his own name, let alone the dark secrets he had guarded so fiercely. The village erupted in outrage. Chief Anozie was confronted with undeniable evidence of his dark practices. The same tribunal that had banished Nonso now convened to pass judgment on Chief Anozie. His power and influence crumbled as the truth came to light. Chief Anozie was stripped of his titles and wealth. He was cast out of Akimo, left to wander without the protection of his dark magic. The village, free from his malevolent influence, slowly began to heal. In that annoyance, the villagers invaded Daily Needs supermarket and looted the whole store and set it ablaze. "Good riddance to bad rubbish," they said. News of Chief Anozie's downfall reached Nonso, who has rebuilt his life in a distant town. He returned to Akimo, not with anger or revenge, but with hope and desire to help his people rebuild. The villagers welcomed him back with open arms and apologized for their ignorance. Nonso's perseverance and Amaka's courage had finally brought justice, and Akimo thrived once more, free from the shadows of the past. His apprentices, who have failed, decided to come together to join forces and started a supermarket called Commonwealth Supermarket. The supermarket blossomed and the villagers patronized it. Soon it became a household name and they started recuperating from their losses. Chief Anozie moved to a neighboring village, but when they heard of his escapades and the things he had done, they drove him away. He started wandering from one place to the other. Because of his evil and occultic involvement, he ran mad and started moving from one dump site to another. One day, an indigene of Akimo who knew him very well saw him and wondered how a once wealthy and respected man ended up this way. Vanity upon vanity, he said to himself.